Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Penapple and today I am building a container home community. So that's 5 whole homes because I always make things harder for myself, and so instead of building 1 container home, I built 5 on the same lot. It was fun. It was actually, I had so much fun with this build. It's been a while since I have done a pack limited build and actually had fun and felt like it wasn't a complete nightmare and just pain to do. Admittedly, I did use a little bit of stuff from Get Together just because there's like some modern fencing in there that I just had to have. And I figure by now, like almost everyone has Get Together. I don't know. That's probably at least all the older fans of The Sims who have been buying them for a while. I guess some of the newer people might not. But anyways, moving on from that, this is mostly pack limited, and the stuff in Eco Living, Eco Lifestyle, one or the other. I'm a really bad game changer. Don't mind me. The stuff in Eco Lifestyles is very cool. It's very usable, and it was just so nice and refreshing. I definitely came into this new pack expecting to really hate it. I don't know. It looked very gameplay focused, and I feel like for once they actually came through on the building. And I mean, we got a full living room set. Like, what is this dream that we're living right now? Anyways, I knew from the start that I wanted this build to be very multi-level, and I wanted some of them to be kind of sticking out through the dirt. I wanted them kind of planted on top of it. And so earlier I tried to do it with a basement, but the basements have to stay covered by earth no matter how high you raise or lower them. So instead I just lowered the first floor into the ground here, and I did that with a couple of them, and then some of them I kind of just built directly up. And later on, you'll see me trying to cover some of them with rocks and make it look very natural. A spoiler alert, it doesn't look that natural. You kind of have to like squint and make believe, but isn't that the case with all Sims builds? Anyways, so this build, like I said, has 5 homes, and so each home has at least 1 bedroom and bathroom, so each home is functional on its own. And I did actually playtest this, sort of. I speed playtest. I flirt with playtesting. Like, if I have a reasonable confidence that something will work, usually I will just leave it. Like, usually with kitchens, like as long as I have 1 free open counter space, I'm usually like, yeah, that looks like it'll work. Although, I've actually been playing the game recently, which is surprising for me because I'm usually just a builder. And so I've actually been playing the game, and I've come to realize that even if you build with move objects off, like that cheat, the Sims are just really dumb. And they have trouble getting around. So like, since I have been playing a little bit more, I've gotten more concerned with my lack of playtesting the builds, and I'm no longer as comfortable believing that they're functional. So that's something to consider going forward. But this build ended up having, I think, like 8 to 9 bedrooms. I say 8 to 9 because when I put it up on the gallery, I definitely counted 8 bedrooms, but when I went to go like recount that number to like tell you guys how many, now it's 9. So I don't know where that extra bedroom came from. Probably just missed it when I was counting, but like, who knows? It also definitely has 9 bathrooms. That number checked out. So this was just a lot of work. I definitely feel like if I am going to do something, I'm going to make it as hard as possible for myself. Like, ultimate challenge, doesn't matter what it is, I'm just going to really go for it. But yeah, that's mostly. I'll probably talk about the build a little bit throughout. This is a very long voiceover, and I'm not gonna lie, this is my second time doing the voiceover, so bear with me. I recorded the entire thing with Facecam, and the first half looked great, and then I lost the light, and I don't mean like it just got a little bit dark. It went like pitch black. It was really, really bad. And also, I did one of those voiceovers where, if you've ever done a voiceover, you might sympathize, where you record it and you're fine with it, and then you like sit back a little bit and you think about some of the things you talked about, and you're just like, I don't actually know if I do want that out on the internet. Like, I talked a little bit about some of my concerns with returning to clinic. I'm a graduate student, and I just got very like self-doubt and like oof. So I decided to cut that part. And since some of those things were like sprinkled throughout, I was just like, yeah, we'll just scrap this. And and also the audio quality was terrible. I don't know what it is. I can't seem to record my face and have the audio quality be good. Yeah, anyways, I try not to be like super focused on those things because it's not in the end what's all that important, but it was like bad, guys. I was like popping all over the place. It was, anyways. So I used a whole bunch of rocks from the show live edit objects cheat. And I got so sick and tired of scrolling around to search for them and pull them out when I needed them that I just tried to pull out a whole bunch of them so I could place them later, because I really love getting to use these like world objects that don't like come in the catalog normally, but they are just, oh my god, they're so annoying to use. Also, like, none of the rock tones really match, and I would still love some more different rocks that come from the original catalog. Just saying. I still have tons of hopes and wishes for The Sims 4, and so we'll see, but, I feel like for a while there, I kind of lost interest in both building and especially playing in The Sims. And I think my interest in playing The Sims will kind of wane a bit. Like, since I've been home because of Corona, I've definitely had a bit more free time to actually, like, play the game. And that's been a lot of fun. And I've kind of been what I call catching up on packs. Like, I never played with University. I never did... Oh, I'm not going to do Strangerville, but I never did Strangerville. I have never been a lawyer in the game, like, just tons of things like that. Like, I never have played in Sulani, like, I just never did. I just built stuff and then I left. And so it's been kind of fun to actually play, and I think that might kind of die out once the newness, that oh so new pack, Discover University, and whatever the Island Living, is it Island Living? Yeah, whatever those two extremely new packs, once they become less new for me, I'll probably not play as much. But for now, it's been a lot of fun, and it's kind of helped get me back to, I guess, my roots with the game. So that's kind of cool. And again, it's reminded me that, oh boy, Sims cannot navigate to save their lives. Like, literally, to save their lives, Sims cannot get around, like, at all. Yes. So, you know what else has also really, really gotten my interest back? Is being able to freely place doors and windows. I'm sure you've heard of this, and if you haven't, I don't know what you're doing. But you used to only be able to place them on a tile system, and now we are free. We can move them wherever we want, within reason. Like, you can't overlap them. And it's just been so liberating. There are so many door choices that you just could not use with specific builds because they just didn't fit. And that was really frustrating. Like, you basically had to decide, okay, do I want this to be like a 2-tile type symmetrical build, or do I want it to be a 3-tile so that the doors will fit and look good, kind of stuff like that. And yes, oh, what is playable about this game, because I'm doing the stairs, I'm reminded of this. The Sims can get to every single one of these lots. It'll take a while for them to walk there, or not lots, houses, yeah. But I tested the stairs and they do work, which is good because I love them. I have done a couple of builds like this before, but I just really love using the terrain tools like this to sort of, make a village, because this is not, I tried doing this before we had terrain tools, but it just doesn't look as good. Like, you need like sort of difference in elevation for the builds to look good, and also we have where you can raise and lower individual buildings, which is just such a blessing. I feel like in the past year or so, like, we have gotten some really great updates. Like, we got stairs that can be L-shaped. We now have ladders too. That's very new. Although after playing with a household that had ladder in it, I am now very hesitant to put ladders in the game because the Sims are so slow. Oh my gosh. Like, I played this household I made just for myself, and I had the bedroom on the upper floor, and then the bathroom was on the lower floor, and dear Lord, my Sims would like wake up needing to pee, and they'd like pee themselves before they managed to like get to the bathroom, because they'd waddle over to the stairs, and they'd slowly climb down, and then they waddle over, and then they'd have an accident. Oh my gosh. Oh, but this build is also very colorful and pretty. I love the new container wallpaper. I think they did a fantastic job on this. It really does transform these like boxes into containers, shipping containers. It's nice. They did a good job. Good job, Sims team. I'm proud of them, because gotta admit, like, Discover University, something about the build objects in that, just, I was so mad. I was so upset. Like, I made a whole video about it, and I was just like, this isn't what I want. And a lot of people were happy with them, but I think I thought they were too sparse. Like, the amount of objects, I don't know. And then Island Living was good. Like, I don't know. I was just kind of neutral. But when this build pack came around, or game pack, build pack, oh my god, expansion pack, telling you, I'm the world's worst game changer. Hence this video being so late. But this one I was inspired to build, and that's kind of new. It kind of felt like a chore a bit before. But yeah, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm very out of practice with these. So I really apologize. But yeah, those are the fences that I needed. I just needed them. The Eco Living came with one or two modern. They came with like a modern fencing, like a low one, and then 3 fencing, which is like wood, and those are all really tall, and I just wanted glass, and the base game doesn't have any good glass fencing, so we went with Get Together. Yeah, and that's about it. Also, I do think I cut out some of the landscaping, for which I apologize. You'll notice as we go on, there's not a single bathroom that I showed you building, because I had 8 hours of footage, and that was 8 hours of footage when I forgot to record a couple of things, or like I did little touches here and there, like off camera, and so I had to edit all of that down. And oh my gosh, this video is just still so long. This was 5 houses. I don't know what I was thinking. It's 5 houses fully furnished, and it's just what I do. I just decide to make things much harder for myself. Like my school for a limited time, because of Corona, we have changed so that most classes are pass-fail. And a lot of graduate schools with similar programs are just always pass-fail. It really just depends on the school. The reason that you would do like grades is so that it's easier to get into specialized schools afterwards. because everyone's pass fail, it's harder to gauge like how good you are. But they've changed it to pass fail, and I'm still just like, if I don't get at least an 80%, I'm just torn up. I'm like, what's wrong? Anyways, I always end up talking about school. It's such a big part of my life. I don't know why I try and stop myself from talking about it. I guess because I worry that it's kind of boring and I complain too much, which is true. It is both kind of boring and I complain too much, but I'm just in such a really intense graduate school program. But I am excited. We have been doing clinic orientation, which is not the exciting part. No, far from it. That's awful. That is like 7:30 to 4:30 Zoom lectures, 1 hour lunch break, and we're talking about compliance, which if you've never had to sit through compliance training, you're so lucky, and I envy you. Compliance training is awful. Okay. And we've also been sitting through a lot of, this is how you put on PPE, which is important, but like at the same time, like it's not rocket science. It is like annoying and like you have to do it a specific way for it to work, but it's not rocket science. And so it's just hard. Also, oh my gosh, you guys, I got a notification that I needed to do an online training for how to put on PPE. So I did that online training. And then, I go to lecture, dutiful little student that I am. And like we start doing the Zoom lecture, and then the professor's like, and if you sit through this class, you won't have to do the online training on PPE. And I'm just like, you couldn't have told me that before. I had to sit through both. It's so awful. Okay, anyways, I'm sorry. I'm like, I've just had so many Zoom meetings. It's, but we will actually be returning to the clinic this week. We won't be seeing any patients. That's not until after the 4th of July. So we're going to be practicing putting on PPE. Oh gosh. And like the only thing that's really going to be different is face shield, I think, and a hairnet. And I gotta admit, I'm actually pretty excited for that hairnet. I'm gonna look terrible, don't get me wrong, but like I want that hairnet, because when we're seeing patients, even like when we wouldn't wear a hairnet, there's just so much aerosol everywhere, and it's I didn't like it. So I'm not saying I'm gonna continue to wear a hair cap once we're kind of past all this coronavirus stuff, but in the meantime, I would be very grateful for that hairnet, even though it's like they're giant. They're so poofy. Oh my gosh. But it'll be fun. And we're all going to be wearing them. We're all going to be awful. One of my professors said she put on all of her PPE, which is personal protective equipment. I'm sorry if I didn't say what that was. It's kind of more of a common knowledge term now with everything going on, but I apologize. Anyways, but she put on all of her PPE and she took a selfie and she sent it to her husband, and he was like, "Who's that?" She's like, "It's me." I just have so much PPE I have to wear. She became unrecognizable to her husband. Okay. Yeah. But speaking of more happy things, I did recently have a break, and over break I managed to record a few speed builds, and I've basically been stockpiling them so that I can just do voiceovers. So I'm hoping to have, at least for like a month or two, some consistency. Like, not really, but we'll see. But anyways, so I did that over break, and also I finally got to visit my parents. We did it all outside, 6 feet away, wore masks for most of it. I mean, we ate lunch, so I don't know. But, like, I had not seen them since Christmas, and I got engaged in March, and I hadn't seen them since I got engaged. And this summer quarter is going to be 12 weeks long, so I won't have a break until September. And so I just felt like if I didn't get to see them now, I wouldn't get to see them for so long. And so, yeah, I probably shouldn't have visited them. But it's been 2 weeks and none of us are sick. So at least there's that. But I take a ferry to visit my parents' house, and that was weird. Like, let me tell you, that, like, because I've grown up riding on ferries, and it was the weirdest thing. Like, the ferries have gotten a lot busier as I've gotten older, and so you can't just like drive up to the ferry and get on it, because there's just lines and lines of cars. They stretch back super far. You have to wait sometimes hours. Like, I've waited like 3 hours, like holding in pee. It's been awful. And so we like showed up, not really expecting that, but kind of. And so we showed up an hour, and we just drove right onto the ferry that was an hour earlier than our planned one. And we were both like, what? I went with my fiance. So we showed up early, and instead of just going straight to my parents' house, we actually went to visit a graveyard, just because I've kind of been into that lately. I find them really interesting, and also it's really easy to social distance in them because, like, there are very few people and the pathways tend to be really wide. And so, like, in my area, like, walking, you can't social distance and walk on the sidewalks. They're just so narrow. So it's been really nice to just visit some cemeteries. It's like a little morbid, but I don't know. I always think about oh God, I'm like, ugh. I always think about how Victorian era, like, is when cemeteries kind of became a thing, and it was so people had a public space to walk around in. So I'm just fulfilling their original purpose. Okay. And also, like, I think it's so funny because I told my therapist that I had gone for a walk in the cemetery, and she was like, she pulled out that same Victorian era fact, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. She gets it. She knows. I talked about it again, and I really found out the depths. Like, she loves cemeteries. She called herself a cemetery buff. And I was just like, I would have never expected this from you. And this is amazing. Like, oh my gosh. So anyways, we visited a cemetery before we went to go to my parents, and as some of you guys know, I have been baking challah. That's been one of the kind of things I've tried to do / learn while we've been in lockdown. And so I brought a loaf of challah bread with me because my mom really wanted to try it, and it was just so rewarding. Like, she called me yesterday, like, 2 weeks after, and she was just like, that was just such a good loaf of bread. And I'm like, thank you. I have the approval of my mother. And it was also funny because in that call, we were talking a little bit about, we actually started talking about billionaires and people making tons of money, and then we went to YouTubers who make a ton of money and celebrities on YouTube and whatnot. And then my mom just kind of spontaneously brought up, like, when I talked about how I'm not like all that popular on YouTube, she was like, well, that last video you made, I watched the first part of it, where you'd come back after not being there for a long time. And I looked down in the comments, and everyone was just so happy you were back. And you are a celebrity to some of these people. And I was just like, oh my God, Mom. And then she was like, I'm just so proud of you. And I was like, ah. I just almost like started crying over the phone. I was like, ah. Oh my God, you're breaking my heart. It's so nice. Especially because, like, growing up, when I played The Sims 2 and 3, it was like a little bit frowned upon. I think my mom was worried that it would affect my schoolwork. And so it was just kind of, and my parents are always proud of me, but it was just really, really nice. And also just kind of funny that she went to the comment section. It's a good thing that you guys are pretty nice down there. Because that could have gotten bad. She could have been like, oh my gosh, people on the internet are so mean to my daughter. But no, that wasn't how it went. Okay. Anyways, it just makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. So what else can I talk about? I have been furnishing all of these rooms. They're all pretty similar, not gonna lie. I wasn't trying to go for each house being completely unique, so they all have the same sort of modern style to them, and the living rooms are basically exactly the same, just in different color schemes. I'm sorry, there's only so many ways you can furnish like a 4 wide tile living room, 3 wide for most of them, because most of them like are next to the stairs, and so like you can't put a coffee table, and it's just a very narrow space. And yeah, anyways, I don't need to justify myself, but I feel like I should. I just feel like I should. Also, I've started to realize, like, I don't understand plants in The Sims anymore. Like, I get it, but I don't have a firm grasp on which plants are in season when. And so if I wanted to add like an actual harvestable plant to my build, I used to just pull whatever I thought sounded good. And now I've realized that that does not work. That's not how that works anymore. If you pull out an avocado and a bell pepper, one of them's gonna be dead. Don't know which yet. I don't know which, but one of them will be dead. And like, it's just stuff like that that makes me realize like how far removed that I sometimes or often am from The Sims, and how far removed, like, and sometimes I get that when I look at Twitter. I feel like very removed from the community, and I definitely don't feel like a game changer, especially because of school. I've taken breaks here and there from being a game changer just because I could not manage it with school. It's pretty stressful to try and take advantage of early access. Like, when you get early access, you don't have to post before the game releases. I think that's a common misconception even amongst the game changers. So we get the pack early, and there's an embargo period, which is where we aren't allowed to talk about it with the public. And then after the embargo lifts, between then and when the pack is released for everybody, people consider that to be prime time to release a video. But that's such a narrow period of time. And so it's very stressful. And honestly, I kind of feel like this might be the last pack where I am an EA game changer. I might bow out of the program just because it's because of a lot of things, but mostly because of school. It's just not what I thought it would be. And so it's gonna suck that I'm not gonna get the pack for free, but like, I don't know. I'm not really a game changer. I'm not a huge part of the community anymore. I've definitely taken a step back on social media, and I cannot post a build on time to save my life. So I'm really leaning towards it. And it's something I've been thinking about for a while, but seeing some of the other game changers talk about how stressed out they are with like some of the requirements on the program, I've definitely like felt more validated in my decision. So no big change for you guys. I'm still not going to release packs in a time, or like build packs. Okay, I'm still not going to release builds with new packs in a timely manner. But now I'll just have to pay for it, which is fair. And like, there are a couple that I have paid for, because I didn't do early access. So I didn't get the code, and I just paid for it myself. And it worked out. But I think that'll also help me to connect with the game more and feel like it's more fun, because as this channel got popular a few years ago, and then I kind of became a game changer, it just became, and I started Twitch, it just became more and more of a job, and it went from something that made me happy to something that I kept wanting it to grow and make more money, which I just don't really need that supplemental type of income, because it's not very much money. Keep in mind, not much at all. But it was nice and it was flattering. But it definitely killed the game for me a bit. And so it's been really nice to just play the game for fun. And I think that I will be more creative and more likely to make and post builds if I pay for the pack myself and I'm just free to do whatever. No restrictions. Before I continue, actually, I'm done with that tangent, but here, this little balcony area, I love it, and I felt like I couldn't properly capture it in any pictures or flyovers, but there's just the spirit of it I love. I love the table that's like facing out, and so you could just like eat food there and look at people walking by, and I just love it. It's so cute. And the little brewing station, which, okay, that brewing station is like the most boring activity I've ever seen in The Sims. Like, you walk up to it, your Sims put in some ingredients, and then you have to remember to press the go button. You don't just put ingredients in it. You have to press the go button, and then they walk away. And then it's a few sim hours later, and it's done. I get that kind of replicates the real brewing I mean, I don't know that much about brewing, but I like, when I did it, I was like, really, that's it? But oh my gosh. Yes, so this is the second to last house that we're working on. This is one of the bigger ones, actually. It ended up having 3 bedrooms, and because there's one in the basement, along with the living room, some of I tried to make the builds have a living room on the first floor, but it just didn't. Also, some of them, okay, I like to watch HGTV, as many sim builders are wont to do. And there was one where, like, the woman just did not want to have the kitchen. I guess her and her husband, I shouldn't just say the woman. Neither of them wanted the kitchen when they walked in the front door. And, like, to the point where they spent, like, thousands of dollars to move the kitchen to the back of the house. And I was just like, you really care this much about where the kitchen is? Although that show was wild. It was like the House Flippers, Hunters, whatever. And they also added a second story to the house. I was just like, why not just tear the whole thing down? Anyways, I also watched some of the container home builds from HGTV, and that was a lot of fun. I didn't realize that container homes are eco-friendly, which, you know, I say that and I'm like, wow, Penelope, really? Wow. They're in the eco lifestyle pack, and there must be a reason why people, you know, use them. I always thought it was just because they were like a bit less expensive and they looked cool, but like they're actually very inexpensive and they're like eco-friendly and all. Anyways, I didn't really fully understand the concept of container homes. I thought they just looked cool. Yeah. These ones do, at least. And these ones at least look very cool. Ooh, I know. I circled this on my page of notes to talk about, and we already talked about cemeteries, but I forgot to tell you guys the best part. When we like to look at the headstones. That's so much fun. There was a headstone that said underground hotel. And that's it. That's all it said. It was one of the really big headstones, which tend to be family names. They'll put like the last name on it, and then the graves around it will be everyone in the family, and those will be flat, and you know, the big one will be the family name. But it just said underground hotel, and like we went to go investigate. It didn't say anything on the back of it. And the graves around it, nobody had the last name underground hotel, which honestly would have been even wilder. Could you imagine? Hi, I'm Penelope Underground Hotel. How are you today? That would be a riot. Maybe I should change my name. Oh my gosh, you guys. I could be Dr. Underground Hotel. I better get on this because it's really annoying to change your name after you've gotten your degree. So I should change my name now to Penelope Underground Hotel. So good. I just, I'm like trying to, I'm sorry, I'm like cracking myself up because I'm trying to imagine myself as a patient being like, oh yes, I'm going to go see Dr. Underground Hotel. Okay, I'm sorry. Another thing that I was very proud of myself for, another stupid joke. Um, I've been crocheting a cardigan because I want something like solid of proof of like being productive during this time, which not everyone has to be productive. Like, that's not great way of thinking, but it just makes me feel better to feel like I have been productive during this time. I mean, I'm in graduate school, but like, anyways, it's not really physical. And so I'm making a cardigan, and like, I'm so excited because it's my Corona cardigan. It's my Coronigan. I'm being quiet so you guys can laugh. Oh my God. Okay, sorry. But yeah, I am looking forward to wearing it in the fall and having people comment on it, hopefully positively. I'm still not sure if I like it. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm mostly like just sewing together different pieces, and guys, I'm not certain, but we will see. Anyways, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this build. If you did, feel free to give me a like, a comment, or subscribe. And yeah, I hope you guys are all healthy, safe, and well, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!